This is a Sports Catastrophe production.
Hey there, Heather. Ho there. It's Jeff Cutter Diamond welcoming you to another Sports Catastrophe Birthday Boy. And the birthday boy for today, February the 15th. Normally, I do one on a living person and all that, give them some things. But because all the other February 15ths I did for birthday boys were living players, and I couldn't find anyone else who was living, I decided to go with this guy instead. He's an F1 icon who was born on February 15th. I know he's dead, and he died in a helicopter crash, but this man is a legend. I mean, two-time F1 champion, and he is the only driver ever to win the Triple Crown of Motorsport, meaning he's won the Indy 500, the 24 Hours of Le Mans, and the F1 World Championship. He was known for being great at the Monaco circuit in F1. All that. He cemented himself as a great work and all that. His name is Damon Hill, who was born February 14th, 1929. February 15th, 1929. What am I thinking? Anyway, he would be an apprentice engineer and actually was a petty officer in the Royal Navy. The funny thing was that for how good he was with Formula One cars, Graham Hill would actually not pass a driving test till he was 24. Usually you're 16 or 18 to do your driving thing. And there have been F1 drivers younger than him around. But anyway, he was a wreck. He was interested in motorcycles for a while. Regardless, he joined Team Lotus for Formula 3 and then would race. Well, he would be a mechanic and then went into the cockpit. Anyway, he was with Lotus to start his F1 career in 1958. He would join BRM in 1960 and won a sports car world championship in 1962. And he was part of the British invasion of drivers and cars in the Indy 500 during the 1960s. In 1966, he went to the Indy 500 in a rear-engine Lola Ford and shocked the U.S. racing establishment by that car and all that. He would go through the Saloon Car Championship as well. In 1967, he helped to develop the Lotus 49 with a new Cosworth engine. All that. Hill was Lotus's top guy by 1968 after losing both teammates, Jim Clark and Mike Spence, to car crashes. Hill helped his team win the thing in 1968, so he was the 1962 and 1968 F1 World Champion. And it looked pretty impressive. But the Lotus did have a reputation for being fragile and dangerous with the new aerodynamic stuff. And it came to a head in 1969 at the U.S. Grand Prix at Watkins Glen when he broke both legs and it ruined his career and all that. And when he was asked after the crash if he wanted to pass on a message to his wife, Hill actually said, "Just tell her I won't be dancing for 2 weeks." Hill would continue to race in F1 for several more years, but the success was not there. All that. Hill had tried his best and all that for Lotus and Brabham, but he just couldn't pick up some things and all that. He was a popular personality in the States and in Britain. He had a couple of autobiographies and all that. he would actually be part of some 30-minute programs on Thames Television in 1974 about driver safety. All that. Well, anyway, Graham Hill was in a few films, including Caravan to Ferraris. Anyway, he actually had a presence in sports car racing despite his F1 stuff. I mean, after all, he did win the 24 Hours of Le Mans in 1972, 6 years after winning the Indy 500. Now that when he won at Le Mans, it actually completed a Triple Crown Motorsport, which was the Indy 500, the 24 Hours of Le Mans, and the F1 World Championship. There's also a definition of the Triple Crown being the Indy 500, the 24 Hours of Le Mans, and the Monaco Grand Prix, which Hill dominated, winning 5 times in the 1960s. So either outcome, he still is the only racer ever. Hill would set up his own F1 team using chassis from Shadow and Lola. Got Lola into their own design and all that. Hill was going to concentrate on running his F1 team and supporting his protege Tony Priest. And all that. Anyway, his 176 Grand Prix starts was actually in place for a decade before Jacques Lafitte tied that. Anyway, Graham Hill would marry Betty in 1955, having 2 daughters and a son, of course. The son being Damon Hill, who would win the 1996 F1 World Championship, making the Hills the only father-son duo to win the World Championships. All that. So he did his job and all that. Hill was actually a rowing club member for a while and did all that. In fact, of the London Rowing Club, Hill adopted the colors and cap design for his racing helmet, dark blue with white oar-shaped tabs. His son Damon and grandson Josh would do that with permission from the club. But not everything was hunky-dory, because on November 29, 1975, at the age of 46, his Piper Aztec twin-engine aircraft crashed near Arkley in Barnet, a borough of London. On board with him were the other members of the Embassy Hill team, including driver Tony Breeze. The party was returning from a car testing session at the Paul Ricard circuit in southern France. The aircraft was actually removed from the FAA register because it was registered in the US. It was unregistered and stateless. I mean, his American FAA pilot certification had expired. His UK rating was actually out of date and invalid too, so he was uninsured. A lot of people said pilot error was the basic explanation, and that's what it was. So that was just hurt and all that. Silverstone Village, part of Silverstone that hosts the British Grand Prix, named a road after him. They even have a bend at Brands Hatch named after him on the racetrack. So anyway, he had a few good books he written. So yeah, 1962 he was the Formula One World Champion alongside 1968. He would win Monaco a lot. Formula One was just good for him. He went to 3 Formula One races. He only won one, the 1966 Indy 500, but it still mattered what he could do. So it's just shocking that Hill, as a rookie, won the Indy 500 in 1966. And it wouldn't be the last time a rookie won at Indy 500. I think Juan Pablo Montoya in 2000 would do that too. Montoya would also emulate Hill's feat of winning the Indy 500 and Monaco, winning at least once. So the 24 Hours of Le Mans in its last attempt in 1972, he shocked everyone by winning the event, getting the Triple Crown. So he liked a lot of things and all that. It was named to the Order of the British Empire for his services to motor racing, and it was a very good deal for Graham Hill. And he was a very good race car driver. I believe that. Anyhow, I'm Jeff Diamond.